Here, we should never tire of reminding people that independence transformed the fortunes of this country and the people who live in it. It transformed the country from being a provincial backwater of the United Kingdom into being a modern European state. If you're looking for evidence of that transformation, you probably need look no further than at the impact of migration into and out of Ireland over those historical years. During the time when we were a province of the United Kingdom, the population of this country was declining significantly since the famine. Even after independence, it took us around 50 years in order for the population to stabilise. But what really transformed this country from a country of emigration to a country of immigration was our joinder of the European Union and the establishment of the single market. As a result of that, we now find ourselves in a situation where this is a country, because of its economic success, that people want to come into the country. No longer is it a country where Irish people are forced to leave. In fact, I was considering if it was the case that we had the international asylum procedure that exists at present, if that existed back in the 19th century, I'm sure there's no doubt but that millions of Irish people would have been entitled to avail of it. Part of the reason, I suppose, why we have such instance of immigration into Ireland now needs to be stated. The first reason is because we're now a member of the EU, the 27 countries, which is a combined population of 450 million people. We know that under that system we've agreed to free movement of workers. That means that workers are entitled to come from other countries within the EU to Ireland. In a similar way, workers in Ireland are entitled to go to other EU countries. It doesn't mean that people are entitled to come here to claim social welfare. It means that they're entitled to come here to work if they're from the EU 27 countries. We also know that there's a very effective and successful system in place whereby people can apply for work permits in Ireland. I think the Minister announced yesterday that last year 31,000 people applied for and were granted work permits to come here. We see those people working in our hospitals, we see them working in restaurants, and they go through the process of applying to get work permits that entitles them to come here and to work here. I suppose the third ingredient in respect of immigration into Ireland arises in the sphere of international protection. I think it's clear that the issue that has given rise to concern in Ireland and that has made immigration a contentious issue is the issue in respect of international protection. The numbers in respect of international protection have increased relatively significantly in recent years. If you look at it back in 2019, 4,700 people applied for international protection in Ireland. In 2022 and 2023, 13,500 people applied in each year for international protection. Already this year, we're looking at figures for the full year that will be estimated to be around 25,000 people applying for international protection. On top of that, of course, we provided permanent protection to individuals who are coming from Ukraine, and that temporary protection, as it's called, persists for another number of months until into next year. So the numbers, I suppose, that have come in seeking international protection have put stresses on the system. However, I think it is extremely important that we maintain separation between the three realms of migration that I've announced here, between those entitled to come because they're in the EU, because those who apply for work permits, and those who apply for international protection. In order for the international protection system to operate effectively, we need to have a system whereby people's applications are assessed promptly. The whole purpose of the EU Migration Pact is to try to speed up the process of people applying for international protection. I suspect that the whole purpose of the EU Migration Pact as well is to apply a stricter regime so that we have a more coordinated system throughout the European Union. I welcome that. I think it is inappropriate if a person applies for international protection in one EU country, and if they're refused it, that they then come to another EU country and apply again. Alternatively, it's also inappropriate if somebody applies for international protection in one country, then leaves that country and comes to Ireland or another country and initiates their application in the new. That's what you call secondary movement. It undermines the system, and I think it is bad for the integrity of the international protection system. People are perfectly entitled to say, Ceann Comhairle, that we shouldn't opt into the Migration and Asylum Pact. But if you're going to say that, you have to appreciate what are the consequences of that. You also need to look to see what is the purpose of the EU Migration and Asylum Pact. As I said to you, the political direction of Europe at present is to try to reduce the numbers who are applying for international protection here and to try to introduce a more coordinated and effective system. In my opinion, the EU Migration and Asylum Pact seeks to do that, and I don't see any other proposal on the paper which can achieve it in any similar way. Thanks, Ciarán.
Deputy Desy Ellis.